Let's have a nice hand for our flyover by the Condor Squadron. And thank you so much to Cusimano Realty Group for the generous donation to make these flyovers possible. Every year they make that donation so we can have these wonderful flyovers. Thank you to Cusimano Realty Group. And now, a really great part of our ceremony today, we're going to have the service medley prior to the ceremony starting. So when your appropriate theme song comes on of your branch of service, please stand and be recognized. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. U.S. Army. U.S. Coast Guard. U.S. Marine Corps. There's here for Paulette Westfall and the Burbank Community Band. Great job. Thank you. Every year we are fortunate to have the Burbank Community Band participate in our Veterans Day and Memorial Day ceremonies. They are really a fabric of our community. A lot of proud veterans serve on that band. And today I will remember a U.S. Navy veteran who used to conduct the Burbank Community Band and Lockheed Community Band, Mr. Don Holcomb, who passed away on April 11th. Rest in peace, Mr. Holcomb. And good morning, everybody. My name is Mickey DiPaolo, and it is my extreme honor to welcome all of you to the Memorial Day ceremony for the Burbank Veterans Committee and the City of Burbank, to welcome you all here for Memorial Day 2016. We have a wonderful program today, and as usual, today's ceremony is highlighted by the Ceremony of the Rose. We read all the names of the individuals who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country, and their names are on our memorials, and they will be read today by members of the Veterans Committee. And during the Ceremony of the Rose, we'll also invite friends, family, and loved ones to come up and help the Girl Scouts lay roses on the appropriate memorial. Mayor Talamantes came up with this idea, I think the last time you were mayor, and we've done it, instituted ever since. And it works out really well, so feel free to come up and join the Scouts. You know, before the ceremony started, I ran into a longtime friend, Beverly Bullock, Beverly and Carrie McLeod. And Beverly's brother Brian lost his life during the Vietnam War. And every year when I go up to say hello to Beverly, I can still see Brian's face because he was my classmate from the 5th grade all the way through my senior year in high school. And of course, I think all of you remember Frank and Roberta Bullock, because without them, these Korean War and the Vietnam memorials would not be here today. So I want to pay them my utmost respect. And God bless you, Brian. And also today, a lot of World War II vets here today. You're our inspiration. You're the greatest generation. And there's one gentleman here today I'd like to have stand up and be recognized. His name is Joseph T. Ruggiero. Joseph T. Ruggiero. World War II combat wounded during the Battle of the Bulge. Thank you, sir. God bless you. We also have some Gold Star wives here today. First Lieutenant Peter C. Krause and his wife, Deborah, is here today. Lieutenant Krause was a Vietnam veteran. He died from Agent Orange related illnesses. Ms. Krause, welcome. And also, I'd like to welcome the sister-in-law of James Elliott, who's listed on our Korean War plaque. He is still listed as MIA in Korea. Mrs. Bixler, thank you for being here today. Mr. Elliott's wife passed away recently. Her name was Ardeen Blackstone, and she used to never miss our ceremonies. She always made it a point to come up and say hello. And last but certainly not least, Walter Krecklow, who lost his life in World War II, and his wife, Elaine Krecklow, is here today. Elaine, Ms. Krecklow, welcome. As we are having Memorial Day ceremonies all over the world today, all over the United States today, young men and women are still sacrificing their lives in defending our freedoms. I hope and pray that whenever we recognize Memorial Day in the near future, that the young men and women serving our country will be serving during peacetime. Let's all please pray for peace. Thank you. We're going to have the presentation of colors next by the Crescenta Valley High School Air Force Junior ROTC. They just recently returned from the National Drill Team Championships, and they competed in the open color guard category because they won the Southern California Invitational Drill Meet regional competition. And they are qualified to go back to Florida next year. These are some of the best young people in our community. So welcome the Crescenta Valley Air Force Junior ROTC for our presentation of colors. And reminding all veterans, you can please stand and render the hand salute. If you're a veteran, you feel free to stand and render the hand salute. Thank you.
Hope, hope, peace, and hope. 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 Ready, move.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce Miss Ann Brown from Burroughs High School to sing our national anthem. Please remain standing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
Please be seated. Let's have a nice hand again for Miss Anna Brown. That was beautiful. Thank you, Miss Brown. It's wonderful to have the young people participate in our ceremonies. Our committee and the city staff, we believe firmly in doing that. And we have the junior ROTC here today and a young lady from Burroughs High School. That makes the day even more significant because there are men and women not much older than them serving our country today and dying for our country. So thank you all for being here. Our future's in good hands, no doubt in my mind. And now it's my honor to introduce our chaplain of the Burbank Veterans Committee, Dr. Jerry A. Jones, for the invocation.
I believe that today marks 28 years that we have been meeting at this site. I've been honored to do the praying here for all but one of those events for the past 28 years. And I'm honored. I do all of my scheduling around these events. That's how much it means to me. And I'm honored to pray with you today. Let's join in prayer, please. Dear Lord, we have gathered together again on this Memorial Day, at this memorial site, to remember those who gave their all that we might enjoy all of the blessings that freedom provides. I pray that our time here today and all that is said and done to honor our brave men and women will have your approval and benediction. It's redundant to even think that you would not be aware of our presence here and that you would not be pleased with the way the wonderful citizens of our great city spare nothing in making this event possible. You are pleased, and I'm honored to acknowledge your blessing, O Lord. I pray that we will remember and never forget that freedom is not free. May we never forget that these markers continually bear before you the names of our own that made our observance what it is. So from start to finish today, dear Lord, may it be obvious to all of us that this is truly a sacred event. For life is sacred, and those who have given theirs have made the ultimate sacrifice for freedom for us. These things I ask in your name and for your glory and for the honor of those we memorialize here today. And to that we all say, amen.
You hear me now? I'm not supposed to be on. Oh, here we are now. Brother Jerry, again, great words of inspiration. Thank you. I'm like him. What a great honor it is for me to be able to talk to you now. Those of you that came up to me and said, "You going to do this again?" I said, "Yeah." I've told you it's like shooting adrenaline in my arm. As an old veteran of Patton 3rd Army Combat Engineers, had the honor and privilege of liberating Buchenwald concentration camp. I want you to look at this old friend standing there by the dais, podium that is, as I bring you a message from the very heart of Old Glory. I am the flag of the United States of America, conceived in the dreams of liberty and the hopes of freedom. I was designed by the hands of Betsy Ross, and her sewing basket was my cradle. Though I was never an orphan, I was adopted by the Continental Congress in 1777 and proclaimed the national emblem of a nation newly born on this continent, fighting valiantly for survival and destined to bring to all mankind a new concept in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I rode with Ethan Allen, the Green Mountain Boys, at the Battle of Fort Bennington. I was flown above the decks of Old Ironsides and the mass of Yankee clippers. I blazed the trail with Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett. I led the settlers coming west and crossed Death Valley in a covered wagon. Once I fell to the ground at Custer's last stand with a little bighorn. There were no living hands left to pick me up. But I galloped up the slopes of San Juan Hill with Colonel Teddy Roosevelt and his Rough Riders in the United States Cavalry. I was carried through the halls of Montezuma onto the shores of Tripoli by the United States Marine Corps. I stayed with the boys till it was over there. On the battlefields of the Marne, Chateau Thierry, Saint Mihiel, and the Argonne Forest, I saw many of the youth and manhood of our nation fall and lie still in death. They had given their last full measure of blood. The war was over for them forever, but I kept my lonely vigil over their graves and stayed to watch the poppies grow amid the crosses, row on row, in Flanders Field. I was raised by 6 brave Marines and sailors during the hell of Iwo Jima in the final hours of World War II. I haven't changed much. 239 years. I still have my original 13 stripes. But as each state came to the Union, a new star was proudly added to the constellation of my blue field. Started with 13, now they're 50. I've draped the caskets of our nation's heroes and borne to their last resting place the bodies of presidents, generals, admirals, humble privates, and the unknown soldier. Wherever free men gather, wherever there's justice, equality, faith, hope, charity, truth, and brotherly love, there too am I. When you pledge the allegiance to me, don't merely mouth the words, but think of what they mean to you and mean what you say. And when you come to the phrase, one nation under God, remember it matters not what your religious belief. It only matters that you hold your faith dear, that you practice it daily, and that you preserve it forever. History will never write my obituary, for I am the stars and stripes forever. I'm Old Glory. I'm your flag. I am you. Now will you stand with me? Together let's declare the greatest nation on the face of this earth, as we proudly and loudly say together, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now it's my honor to introduce somebody to you. 22 years ago, this person was talking to some friends and said, you remember what happened in World War II when Kate Smith introduced God Bless America? She said, yes, this has become a standard here at the memorial service. Pat Walmsley is a dear friend, and listen to these words and this voice that's coming from you right now. Pat Walmsley with God Bless America.
Thank you. It's my honor and pleasure to be here today. I just want to reiterate what Jimmy said, that we are the greatest nation in the world. God made this a special place, and He made each one of us special. And I hope you realize that today. And as we sing God Bless America together, I hope you'll realize that it's also a prayer for each one of us as well. Thank you. And let's sing loud. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home. God bless you all.
Let's have a nice hand for Miss Pat Wamsley. As you all know, that comes from deep within her heart. She's very passionate about our country and our veterans. Thank you, Pat. I'd now like to introduce Honorable Mayor Jess Talamantes.
Is this a beautiful morning or not? Beautiful. Thank you for being here. On behalf of the Burbank City Council, I am honored to be here with you. Today we come together as a community to pay tribute to the men and women who fought to bravely and made the ultimate sacrifice to protect the peace and freedom of our great nation. I'd like to begin by recognizing a few elected officials and city officials. Of course, we have our council members here. We have Council Member Gabe Oluddy. Council Member Frutos. And Council Member Gordon. We also have some appointed officials. We have our interim city manager, Ron Davis. And obviously, the chair of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Board, Mickey DiPaolo. Mickey. I'd now like to invite Mary Ann Christ up to the podium to speak on the Military Service Recognition Program.
Good morning. The Military Service Recognition Program is a program that our city honors men and women from Burbank who are serving in the military. The flag with their name is placed on 3rd Street. You'll see the flags all along 3rd Street until their service is completed. One of the moms who started the program wanted people to see her son's name on the flag and hopefully remember to pray for him while they're driving by. Her hope was that would be a safety for him, bring him home safe. Burbank presents each honored service member with their flag and a proclamation acknowledging his or her service to our country. To date, we have presented over 100 flags to returned servicemen and women from our city. And today we have the privilege of sharing in the celebration of welcoming home one of our own. Mayor Talamantes, would you come back up and do the presentation?
We have now come to a very special part of our program. Today we are proud to acknowledge a few members of the Burbank Military Service Recognition Program who selflessly and bravely defended our country and have now returned home and are no longer on active duty. I would like to invite Mr. Ryan Christofferson, Airman of the United States Navy, to join me at the podium, please. Ryan is a graduate of Burbank High School class of 2005, joined the United States Navy, and was stationed aboard the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier out of San Diego, California. We are truly honored to be able to recognize Ryan today. On behalf of the Burbank City Council, the Military Service Recognition Program Committee, and the City of Burbank, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude for your commitment and dedication to our community and country. It is our pleasure to be able to have this opportunity to present you with this personalized street banner that was proudly displayed on 3rd Street during your time of service to our great nation. In addition, please accept this photograph of your banner to always remind you of Burbank's appreciation for your service. I'd also like to invite his family to come up and share this moment with him. I know his family's here. Come on now. So we also have to mention Yuri, Ryan's brother, who's not here today, but he also served in the service and is currently in Hawaii. What better place? So applause for his brother Yuri, please. We also have 5 other members of the community who have returned home from active duty, but unfortunately could not make it to today's ceremony. Adam Baumgarten, Evan Bryant, Carlos Delgado, Robert Hegstrom, Richard Perez, and Ryan Welker. On behalf of the entire city of Burbank, we thank you for your service to our great nation and also to their parents and family and loved ones for their support throughout this time. That concludes the military service recognition portion of today's ceremony. I'd like to reintroduce Mickey DiPaolo, who will continue this program. Mickey?
To all the young people that just came home, were just discharged, welcome home. Welcome back to Burbank. If you need any tips from some old veterans, we're here. Real old, but we're here. Thank God. And now it's my pleasure once again to introduce the Crescenta Valley High School Air Force Junior ROTC Honor Guard under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel David J. Worley, retired, to do the POW MIA table ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the POW MIA table to my right. At this time, we ask that you remain seated yet silent as we conduct the POW MIA ceremony. This ceremony is rich with military tradition as we honor those men and women of our armed forces who, in defense of the freedoms of our country and that of the free world, are unaccounted for and are classified as prisoners of war or missing in action. We are specifically honoring the sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of Americans held prisoner of war and those still listed as missing in action since the time of the American Revolution. Some died from disease and starvation. Some perished in death marches. Some were tortured and some were lost, gone forever from their families. All were deprived of their liberties so that you may enjoy yours. At all military functions where meals are served, these heroes are always honored and remembered. This table is set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. They are not with us today. The table is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms so that their children could remain free. The 5 hats represent each branch of our armed forces. Let us remember all the men and women prisoners of war that are too often forgotten. We must never forget them. Symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. The yellow candle and the yellow ribbon on the candle reminds us of those who will not be coming home. The single red rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. The red ribbon on the rose represents the love of our country, which inspired them to answer the nation's call. The black napkins on the table stand for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their family and friends. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. There is salt on the plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait and remember. Glass is inverted, reminding us that our distinguished comrades cannot be with us today to join in the festivities. Maybe tomorrow, if we remember. The faded picture on the table is a reminder that they are missed very much and are remembered by their families. The empty tilted chair depicts an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, or Coast Guardsman, but all are here with us today. The POW MI flag is posted behind me. to mourn the fact that many of our comrades will not return to our shore, and to pay tribute to their passing. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past, but remember our comrades. Remember those whom we depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them. Ladies and gentlemen, let us have a moment of silence in remembrance of our prisoners of war and those missing in action. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
To say the least, that was wonderful and very impactful. Beautiful. Thank you so much to the Junior ROTC and Lieutenant Colonel Worley, Crescenta Valley High School. And now for the Ceremony of the Rose, I'd like to introduce my colleague on the Veterans Committee, Mr. Mike McDaniel.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We have all together here this morning the distinct honor of remembering all of those from Burbank, our sons and daughters who have gone in service of our country in all the past wars, who did not return. It is fitting that we remember their names here as each one is read. They gave up their future so that we all have one. Today, we are honored to have Girl Scout Troop 696 to help us replace the roses on the monuments. Once again, we would like to reiterate, if there is anyone here who is related to or would like to place a rose in name of a family or a friend, they are welcome to come up and join the Girl Scouts to place the rose as their name is read. We honor all those who left and did not return from Burbank by placing a rose as their name is read. I ask you to follow along in your pamphlet where the names are listed, and remember the sacrifices which all of these young men and young women gave for Burbank and for our country. I'd like to begin by reading the names from World War I. Michael Chaffino, Harry L. Colton, Ray F. Enos, James McLeod. Now to introduce the World War II names, I'd like to invite Paul Currier, a Veterans Committee member, to join us up here. Good.
Thank you, Mike. It's my honor to read the following World War II veterans. Edwin V. Anderson, Herbert E. Anderson, Jr., Winston H. Arnold, Lee Bargeher, Warren A. Barker, Clinton D. Barton, Neville A. Barton Jr., Kenneth Bell, Harold Bettel Jr., James A. Baea, Warren R. Blakeman, Donald Blakeslee, Arthur R. Bowd, Rex Bobby, Herman L. Bauer, Louis Bramer, Floyd L. Broman, Richard H. Bunbaugh, Albert B. Byland, H. H. Campbell, David Correa, Delbert Ben Carr, Robert W. Chambers, Glenn E. Chapman, John Morris Sharp, Fernando Chavez, John Chovanek, Charles Christopher, Jack Clark, Alfred W. Cole, Walter Collier, Roy Canero, Paul Considere, Norman F. Craig, Claire C. Cross, Wallace Crowder, James G. Davis, Tello DeSantis, Robert A. Dibb, Ronald Dinsmore, John A. Dorgan, Perry L. Dreyer, Warren C. Dunaway, Richard H. Dunbar, Richard E. Dunkelberger, Edwin L. Ebinger, A. O. Ellierman, Glenn O. Elliott, Harley A. Ellis, Keith Edwin Ellis, Webb D. Elmaker, N. J. Elliott, Eugene Lloyd Farthing, Robert A. Frank, Leo Fratella, Raymond O. Fulford. The next reader will be Stephen Moss.
And it is with my great honor that I read the following names: James H. Gamblin, Ruben Garcia, George Jean, Edward G. Gens, Charles A. Geddes, Douglas Lawrence Goff, Raymond Gonzalez, Edwin S. Green, John R. Gugerty, Joseph H. Hackwell, Edward J. Hadriba, C.F. Hagerstorm, Gaylord Grant Hanley, Jack Henry Harder, Patrick Harmon, Alvin Hart, Warren G. Haviland, Archie F. Haviland Jr., Richard Hayward, Lawrence Headley, Ole E. Henriksen, George Heron, Robert A. Herzog, Herman H. Hetzel, Howard Hickenlooper, Donald Hinshaw, Norman A. Hollis, Felton E. Horton, Robert W. Howard, Thomas Hunter, Avery Huron, Kurt Francis Jennings, Glenn E. Jewett, Arvin E. Johnson, Robert Johnson, Forrest J. Johnston Jr., Wayne A. Jones, Ernest L. Kern, Richard Kimball, William F. Kinsey, William N. Kirkland, Max Kruger, Thomas Lake, Donald A. Landis. And to continue on with the rest of the names, Mrs. Pat Walmsley.
James Landsberger, Albert Lemon, Melvin Lieberman, Sam Lieberman, Gordon R. Lofgren, John S. Lombard, Charles S. Lonergan, Harry Long, Lawrence R. Long, Earl Loudon, Wilbur C. Mattern, William F. McChesney, Vernon McElmurray, Jack McHenry, Robert McNish, Eugene Madall, William A. Messing, George Milburn, William Montandon, Joe Morris, William J. Morrison, Troy B. Mullenix, Alvin Musin, Douglas L. Mutzler, James Williams Myers, Norman L. Myers, Wesley N. Myers, Warren F. Nielsen, Carl V. Nelson, Jr., Harold Nelson, Frank C. O'Donnell, Fred W. Otell, Peter Ogburn, Billy B. Parker, Robert Spencer Patterson, William A. Pelkey, Floyd Penry, Jack R. Perez, John Pilkington, John Frederick Plouffe, J. A. Pritchard, Jr., James G. Purdy, Bartlemus Quinte, Glenn Rain, Douglas Richards, Joseph D. Risden, Gerald Roberts.
Virgil Robertson, B.C. Robinson, Fred C. Howland, William A. Rutledge, John Samorian, Quentin Sandal, Daniel Sonder, Creighton Schaefer, George R. Schaffer, Roy Clifford Shear, Robert E. Schmidt, C. E. Schmedke, Robert L. Shug, Paul Schwartz, W. E. Seagren, Arthur B. Sherman, J. J. Signorelli, Nathan Silver, Jess Edward Simpson, Edwin Slocum, Roger A. Smith, Elmer Snodgrass, William Alexander Schneider, Dudley M. Steele Jr., Sam Stamolo Jr., Clark D. Stone, Myron K. Strickland, William Stripe, August W. Sulflo, Joseph M. Sundin, Richard Sussman, Ray Swenson, Philip B. Taylor Jr., Walter Merrill Taylor, William E. Taylor, Charles R. Teal, Robert Teggart, Milton A. Tolman, Charles Franklin Townsend, Nelson Troop, Richard Tull, Don Van Atta, Walter Vernon, Lloyd Wade, Bernard P. Walmsley, William Taylor Wattenberger, Ray Weber, Albert O. Wedden, Robert P. Westbrook, Arthur White, Robert V. Wickers, Donald L. Wickersham, Jack Wiles, Johnson B. Wiles Jr., Richard D. Williams, Robert K. Wilson, Ronald H. Wingate, Albert A. Wyatt, William H. York, and John T. Zimmerman. My pleasure to introduce Chris Thomas, who will start the names of Korea. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my honor to read these names. William J. Barnes, Donald S. Bills, Jr., Bobby S. Box, Edward L. Conyers, Max L. DeRosset, David M. Ellis, James Homer Elliott, Foster L. Delmar, Edwin Guerin, Curtis A. Hatfield, William C. Caron, George R. Klein, Alfred J. Ledger Jr., Burton H. Levinson, Michael LaMagna, Arnold Nally, Larry Shiner, John D. Varney, Robert V. Wilson. to read the names of the fallen of the Vietnam War, former City Councilman and Veterans Committee member Gary Brick.
Jerry Joe Allen, Robert Annis, James M. Ball, Stephen P. Barnett, Christopher P. Battaglia, Arthur Skip E. Vidal, James A. Bean, my brother, Private First Class William H. Brick III, 23 August 68, Brian E. Bullock, Felix A. Calderon, Robert J. Campbell, Donald E. Close, Michael L. Corrigan, Thomas B. Daly, John A. DeRue, Frank A. DeFiglia, Douglas Dispensiero, Reese C. Elia Jr., Alan L. Elmore, Daniel P. Alas, Terry M. Enriquez, James H. Flickinger, Stephen D. Francis, John A. Jarrow, Wayne E. Halstead, Stephen P. Hansen, Norbert P. Alasapel, and Robert K. Hool. And to read the last names will be Mr. Greg Alamo.
Scott W. Iggleton, Douglas R. Johnson, George F. Kiefer, Steve M. Knopf, James W. Kerr, Ronald R. King, Howard L. Klinsky, Edward L. Krausman, Robert F. Lavender, Edward R. Latorno, Vaughn M. Lieberneck, Larry L. Maxim, Burbank High School, 1966, Medal of Honor. Gary T. McLean, Michael McCreever, David Moreland, Donald L. Morrison, Andrew J. Payne Jr., Stephen D. Pleasant, William C. Proctor Jr., Paul V. Quiglieri, Robert W. Robinson, David Salisbury, Charles P. Searles, Sal Silva, Larry Stephen, Gunter R. Tano, Kenneth J. Webb, Ray Leonard Willman, Jack P. Wilson Jr., Pat Wilkes. And then Paul McKenna will come up to read the Global War on Terrorism.
David L. Hart, Afghanistan. Corey Phelps, Iraq. And with God's blessing, may be this where the list ends.
I'd like to thank everybody that participated in the Ceremony of the Rose, friends and loved ones, and especially thanks to the Scouts and their leaders. We had Boy Scouts, we had Girl Scouts. That's really wonderful, and they're getting ready for summer, so this is a great way to start your summer by contributing to your community. And that's really, like we said before, just a wonderful thing to do is get involved and serve your community. Thank you all very much. And now it is my honor to introduce Miss Bobby Cranston to sing the song In My Life. Miss Cranston, accompanied by her husband, Bryce.
There are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I love them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. These memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before, I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Let's have a nice hand again for Bobby and Bryce Cranston. Wasn't that beautiful? And now I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor Jess Talamantes.
I'd like to ask Ryan Christofferson and his family to come back up, please. I know. Oh, not again. Why is he doing this? Thank you for bearing with me. Sir? You know, throughout our military, there are countless siblings and members of the same family simultaneously serving our country in various parts of the world. It has come to our attention that the Christofferson family, Ryan is not the only one returning home. Ryan shares his return with his older brother Yuri Christofferson as well. Yuri Christofferson, a graduate of Burbank High School class of 2001, joined the United States Army shortly after. Stationed, like I mentioned earlier, at Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Honolulu, Yuri saw deployments in various regions of the world, including Ethiopia, Nigeria, Tajikistan, and Afghanistan on 2 separate occasions. Yuri returns home after totaling 12 years of service and dedication to the United States Army. Unfortunately, Yuri could not be here with us today, and accepting on his behalf is his family. Ryan and Yuri now join their brother Kevin, who returned home in 2010, making this a very special reunion. 3 brothers, I just heard a wow, you're right. 3 brothers serving our country, returning safely to their hometown, Burbank. At this time, I'd like to invite Congressman Schiff to share some words and token of appreciation.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Veterans, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be with you and to commemorate this day, what is America's most solemn holiday. And when we think about those that we've lost in Iraq, Afghanistan, Persian Gulf, Vietnam, Korea, and 100 other places, the enormity of the loss is so great. The many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, indeed millions over the course of the nation's history. It's such a large number, it's hard to imagine, it's hard to come to grips with the enormity of that loss. And so I think sometimes it's more helpful perhaps to think about a single family, a single soldier or airman or sailor. And unfortunately, we have several to think about today. I'd like to mention 2. One was a Navy SEAL named Charles Keating. He was sent to Iraq, part of the 4,000 or 5,000 who have been returned to Iraq since we initiated hostilities against the scourge of ISIS in Iraq and Syria. And although this is described as a train and assist mission, it is combat by any other name. There is no safe space in Iraq. As the ranking member on intelligence, I'm greeted every morning with the day's briefing about all of the horrific acts of violence that go on there as well as other places in the world. And so our service members who go there to advise and to assist understand the risks are enormous. Charles Keating was killed by sniper fire or artillery as he was close to the battlefront. And then closer to home, we had a loss from our neighboring community of Glendale when Army Sergeant Joseph Stifter was recently killed. He died when his armored vehicle overturned. And in fact, when you look at the casualties we've suffered in the recent posting of our troops in Iraq, we've lost 16 service members since little more than a year and a half ago. 3 of them have been combat related and 13 of them have been non-combat related because of the inherent risks, the inherent dangers of serving in a place like Iraq or Afghanistan. And so this morning in Glendale and in La Cañada, the Stifter family has attended memorials like this one. The word Memorial Day having an entirely new, deeper, and more painful meaning than ever before. And so we think of them. We think of the sacrifice their family must now and forever withstand. And we hold dear the memory of their lost ones. And we have again a fuller appreciation for what it means when our men and women put on the uniform of the United States. We thank God that we have service members serving with such distinction that are answering the call of duty, like the Christofferson family. And so many families have answered that call time and time again. Individuals doing multiple rotations, multiple family members serving. So we think of them, we say, thank God that our country produces such heroes. And we ask God to give solace to the families of those who are serving overseas and to those who have been lost. And it gives me great honor to present these certificates of congressional recognition to the Christofferson family. We want to thank you for your dedication to the country, the enormous sacrifice that your family has made in having 3 of your loved ones in the service and in harm's way. We thank you and God bless you.
Now it's my honor to invite State Senator Carol Liu to come up and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to join you again on this beautiful day and this beautiful Memorial Day to remember our men and women in the military who died serving our country. But we also gather here to thank and honor those who have returned from war and to thank them for their service. Our U.S. soldiers are sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers willing to sacrifice everything for our sake and the sake of the oppressed in other lands. They endure hardships on a daily basis that we can't even imagine. And many return suffering injuries, physical disabilities, or mental anguish. On this Memorial Day, let us honor our soldiers and their families and also pledge to support them. We owe it to those who gave their lives to provide the services and supports their families need to carry on. We owe it to those returning to help them live meaningful and productive lives. I don't know, it's shameful, I guess, that we don't provide enough services and supports for those who have experienced physical and emotional, mental, and economic consequences of their services, and it's shameful that so many of our veterans are homeless, and it's shameful that those seeking services are subject to excessive bureaucratic delays. And in this year, an election year, candidates for office need to know that we care about our soldiers and their families, and we must tell them we support programs that help returning soldiers resume meaningful lives. And we must tell them that we support better survivor benefits for families whose loved ones did not return. And we must ask them what they plan to do about it. You may be for our engagement or foreign engagements or against them, but we all should agree that those deployed in protecting our freedom and democracy deserve our respect. We must show that respect not once a year, but every day. And let us not forever take for granted the freedoms our military fight to uphold, and we must exercise the liberties they fight to preserve, and we can vote. But better yet, we can engage in the political process to make sure people who support our soldiers and their families are elected to office, and our children to understand how lucky we are to live in the United States of America. I do congratulate the Christofferson family. Thank you very much for your sacrifice and for your service, young man. And I am told that my staff will be forwarding you certificates of appreciation. So with that, thank you very much. God bless.
I believe we have other representatives.
Hey guys.
You're representing?
And so I'd like to add Congressman Brad Sherman's voice to this chorus of gratitude for your outstanding service. So on behalf of a grateful nation, I'd like to present you and your family and your brothers with the thanks of the nation.
And one more representative. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to commemorate our heroes. On behalf of Assemblyman Mike Gatto, I would like to present the Certificate of Recognition from the California State Assembly to Ryan Christopherson and Yuri Christopherson for their immense service. Thank you so much for all you do. And let us remember that every day is Memorial Day, because every day that we live free, we owe to them.
At this time, I'd like to recognize the Burbank Veterans Committee. The committee and the Parks and Recreation staff have worked diligently since its inception to plan our veterans events each year, not only Memorial Day, but also Veterans Day. So at this time, I'd like to ask the members of the Burbank Committee to please stand and stay standing for a round of applause. I'd like to thank them for their dedication to ensure that sacrifices of America's heroes are never forgotten. Thank you very much. So as mayor of the city of Burbank, it is a great honor to participate in this ceremony as we honor the brave men and women from the Burbank community and throughout our great nation who so bravely gave their lives in the defense of our wonderful country. On Memorial Day, we pause to remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom. I urge all Americans to recognize the valor and sacrifice of these men and women. Let us honor our fallen heroes who have proved their heroism, bravery, and belief in the American way of life. We would also like to acknowledge the mothers and fathers, husbands, wives, and other family members who provided strength and support to their loved ones serving in the armed forces. As family members and community members, let us never forget the men and women who have lost their lives defending the United States of America. Today we honor their memory and pay tribute to those brave individuals. In the words of former President Harry S. Truman, our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. America will never forget their sacrifices. The City Council and the Veterans Committee thanks each of you for attending today. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless Burbank. Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Mickey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Talamantes. Before we go further, I know that Congressman Brad Sherman's representative is here today, and Congressman Adam Schiff's here today, and I thank them for being here. But I also want to bring the fact, and I've seen it firsthand, a good friend of mine needed help with his VA claim, and he contacted Congressman Sherman, and help was given to him, and that was expedited, and now he's on a clear path to his VA claim. And also just recently, had the occasion of a good friend of mine. He's struggling right now, and I talked to his wife, and I referred her to contact Congressman Schiff's office. Her husband's going through a lot of difficulty right now, so keep him in your prayers, and keep all our veterans and all our people serving our country and all the ones that have passed on in your prayers. But she called Congressman Schiff's office, and right away they arranged an appointment. And I want to thank Congressman Schiff and his staff, especially Elizabeth, for the caring, sensitive way that they treated this young lady. And now I think that things are going to move a lot more smoothly. So thank both Congressman Schiff and Congressman Sherman's office. You know, as you can see, our flag is at half staff. This year, as suggested by Mayor Talamontes and my colleague on the Veterans Committee, Paul McKenna, we'll have a more formal raising of our flag shortly after TAP. So please stick around for that. We'll raise it to full staff for the rest of the day. And this is symbolic of when the flag rises, so does the memory of our fallen heroes, as we the living promise to not let their sacrifice be in vain. And on that note, too, a lot of my fellow men and women veterans out there, as a way of remembering all the veterans that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, I encourage all of you to get involved in your community, to volunteer, to give that great example of we're veterans, we're home, and we want to we want to continue to serve. So I encourage you all to get out and volunteer anything you'd like to do. Burbank has so many opportunities to volunteer, and so does all these cities in the valley. So please, as a veteran, step up and volunteer in your community. It's the greatest feeling you can ever have. Trust me. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Chaplain Jerry A. Jones for the benediction, followed by Amazing Grace on the bagpipes from Anjanette McFarland, and to be followed by taps for the Burbank Community Band.
Let us pray. Dear God, as we leave this memorial site today, may we never forget those for whom this memorial stands. And may we ever honor their memory and their sacrifices. May it never be that out of sight, out of mind would be the way we, the proud citizens of Burbank, treat those whose life's blood is represented by their names engraved on these markers. Help us to forever hold these brave ones in our heart and in our memory. And may we always remember to give you thanks for our freedom. Freedom paid for with the blood of millions of Americans that have served our nation since its inception. May we leave these grounds with a new and enhanced appreciation for your protection and for all that we enjoy as proud Americans. May we be dismissed from this place with your blessing, and that means keeping us free and blessed with the abundance that freedom provides. In your name I pray. Amen.
Please remain standing until our flag is raised to full staff. Thanks to the Burbank Fire Department personnel for assisting us with this today. Thank you. Please be seated. Just a reminder, at 3 p.m. today, there's a moment of silence, a pause to remember. So at 3 p.m., if you're with family or you're maybe going to a barbecue, that's going to be over at the Elks on Hollywood Way, or you're going out to the VFW on Magnolia, make sure that at 3 p.m. you pause for a moment of silence. A quote from Thomas William Parsons: on thy grave the rain shall fall from the eyes of a mighty nation. And also from a book, Shrapnel in the Heart by Laurel Palmer. Eddie Lynn Lancaster, 3rd Marine Division, lost his life in 1967, age 19. His cousin left this little note at the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. And this is really the small things that are really big things in life that you miss when you lose a loved one. Dear Eddie Lynn, I'd give anything to have you shell one more pecan for me on Grandma's back porch. All my love, your cousin, Ann. Thank you all for coming today. Please pray for peace. And for some words of inspiration, it is my honor to call Mr. Jimmy Weldon to the microphone.
Mickey, bless your heart. Thank you so much. What a great day this is, Memorial Day. What a service. And I've got to say something to Adam Schiff over there. He has made it possible for me to talk to schools and police departments and special fire departments on why we love America. And we're both a member of Post 43. We're going to go out and do some more in just a minute. But right now we talk about heaven as being post everlasting. The men and women that we've given honor today mean so much. But if they were here with us right now at this microphone, I'm sure each would say, thank you for giving us the honor today, but we want you to live for us. Live for America. Make this pledge. I will live this day as if it is my last. And what shall I do with this last precious day which remains in my keeping? First I will seal up its container of life, so that not one drop spills itself upon the sand. I will waste not a moment mourning yesterday's defeats, yesterday's aches of the heart, for why should I throw good after bad? I will avoid with fury the killers of time. Procrastination I will destroy with action. Doubt I will bury under faith. Fear I will dismember with confidence. Each minute of today will be more fruitful than hours of yesterday. My last must be my best. I will live this day as if it is my last. God bless each of you. God bless America. Go get 'em, Tigers!
Jimmy will be 93 in September. That's what they call it, the greatest generation, folks, right there. And all these World War II veterans here today, thank you. Thank all the veterans for participating. Thank you all for coming. God bless you.